This is John Vincent Tujan, and this is my reporting. CPU architecture is the layout of the internals of the CPU, like how the transistors and other electronics are laid out. Since in today's CPUs, there are over a million transistors on a single wafer of silicon, it's not possible for humans to see the architecture without some magnifying device. CPU run on a set of instructions to perform mathematical operations like additions, subtraction, etc. It would be something like this: store number A in this register, place to store values in a CPU, store number B in this register, and so on. How it works. Below we see a simplified diagram describing the overall architecture of a CPU. You must be able to outline the architecture of the central processing unit or CPU and the functions of the arithmetic logic unit or ALU and the control unit or CU and the registers within the CPU. So this is the diagram below. Parts of the CPU. One is the ALU. The arithmetic logic unit executes all calculations within the CPU. Second, the control unit coordinates how data moves around. ARM processor architecture is an advanced reduced instruction set computing RISC machine, and it's a 32-bit reduced instruction set computer or microcontroller. It was introduced by the Akron Computer Organization in 1987. This ARM is a family of microcontroller developed by makers like ST Microelectronics, Motorola, and so on. The ARM architecture comes with totally different versions like ARM v1, ARM v2, etc., and each one has its own advantage and disadvantage. This is the diagram of the processor. The ARM Cortex is complicated microcontroller within the ARM family that has ARM v7 design. There are three subfamilies with the ARM Cortex family. First is ARM Cortex AX series, ARM Cortex RX series, and ARM Cortex MX series. The ARM architecture components. First is the ALU. It has 232 bits inputs. The primary comes from the register file, whereas the other comes from the shifter. Status registers flagged, modified by the ALU outputs. Second, booth multiplier. The multiplier factor has three 32 bits input and the input returned from the register file. The multiplier output is barely 32 least significant bits of the merchandise. Third, barrel shifter. It features a 32-bit input to be shifted. This input is coming back from the register file, or it might be immediate data. Control unit. For any microprocessors, control unit is the heart of the whole process, and it is responsible for the system operation. So the control unit design is the most important part within the system. Unix is an operating system. It supports multitasking and most widely used in all forms of computing systems, such as desktop, laptop, and servers. On Unix, there is a graphical user interface similar to Windows that support easy navigation and support environment. With GUI, using a Unix-based system is easy, but still one should know the Unix commands for the cases where a GUI is not available, such as telnet session. There are several different versions of Unix. However, there are many similarities. The most popular varieties of Unix systems are Sun Solaris, Linux or GNU, and macOS X. So these are the three parts of the Unix operating system. First is kernel, shell, and then programs. Top uses for Unix: multitasking, a backbone of modern technologies, impactful towards other OS, an invention of Linux, a host of services, command line functionality, text-based processes, regular expression, modularity and reusability, and lastly the network protocol. Next is the Linux operating system. In fact, it is one of the most popular platforms on the planet. Android is powered by Linux operating system. An operating system is software that manages all of the hardware resources associated with your desktop or laptop. To put it simply, the operating system manages the communication between your software and your hardware. Linux operating system comprises several different pieces. So first is bootloader, the kernel, init system, daemons, graphical server, desktop environment, lastly the applications. Why use Linux? Linux is also open source follows these key tenets: the freedom to run the program for any purpose, the freedom to study how the program works and change it to make it do what you wish, the freedom to distribute copies so you can help your neighbor, the freedom to distribute copies of your modified versions and to others. And that's it for my reporting. Thank you.